This old leaning garage has more leaks than any computer Julian Assange has ever owned. WikiLeaks would be proud. Now, after that last traumatic episode, we finally have something fun. Let's take a look at it. We get to play with science today. So buckle up, kids. It's gonna get nerdy. All right, last time you no doubt recall, we separated these two manifolds. We pulled this one out. We got it loose, pulled it out. We separated them just like that. So let's get rid of this one. Set it. We'll set that one over there. Now, I wanted a different exhaust on this, and I didn't want to go with headers. I didn't want to go with, anything crazy. I wanted to go with something that looked factory, and I did. I found exactly what I was looking for. I went to the wrecking yard, and I found this. How cool is that? Now I'm probably going to have to remove this tab to get this to fit up in here, but I knew that coming in. I went out to the wrecking yard and I tried to buy both sides and it wasn't happening. They had both sides, but the front one had a big, huge crack in it. So I didn't buy it. And the guy said, yeah, they're getting hard to find. They don't make these engines anymore. They're really hard to find. Well, I paid $65 plus tax for this one, and I thought, well, let me look online, and online I could buy them all day long for $65, so it seemed to be the price. But after paying shipping and all that, I could get a used one online for about, I'd say, right around $100. By the time I paid tax and shipping and all that stuff, and then I didn't really know what I was getting. So I thought, how about this revolutionary idea? Let me call the local auto parts store and see if they sell them. Let me show you what I found. No, I didn't find Arm & Hammer baking soda. I just put this in here and we'll figure out why in a little bit. This is what I got. I got a brand new one. Brand spanking new. And it fits right up in there like that. How cool is that? So now I have the front and the rear. I have two exhaust pipes coming out. This one back here, it'll tip up more like this. They'll come out. They'll look good. This one I'm going to have to cut this little ear off. It's a well-known thing you got to do because otherwise it won't fit past this ear, because this ear and this ear want to live in the same spot, and that's just not going to happen. Apparently the electronic fuel injection one doesn't. It's reversed. So anyway, we'll make it happen. It's going to work. I'll only cut what I need to off. But in the meantime, I need to make this rusty one look like this shiny new one. How in the world am I going to do that? Well, that's where we get to play with science. Yay! Let me show you. There, it fits now, just like it's supposed to. That's going to hold on just fine. Alright, now it's time for the crazy part. We get to get a little geeky with science, and first of all, safety. Got to put the spoggles on, man. Gotta wear the spoggles. Keep the eyes. Anyway, I'm going to use electricity to get rid of all that rust. And the way I'm going to do that is through a system called electrolysis. Electrolysis is, kind of a sciencey little thing where we take a solution and pour it in a bucket. Well, let me show you. Here we go. Here I have a bucket, and I have suspended from a piece of steel wire. This is actually rebar wire for tying rebar. I bought a spool of it, and I hung, suspended in the middle of the bucket, the part that I want to get rid of the rust on. Now, in an unattached wire, or not attached to this one, I hung a piece of rebar over here from the wire, and the wire goes all the way around here and back to this other one that sticks in the other side. So there's one on either side because I want to get the rust off of everything. And then I have my battery charger. And what electrolysis does is it attacks whatever the inferior metal is and moves it from one place to the other. In this case, the inferior unstable metal would be the rust. Okay, here I have a 5-gallon bucket with water in it. I don't have it quite full. There's probably 4.5 gallons in there because I got to be able to stir this. So I'm going to start by pouring baking soda in here. And it's supposed to be about a minimum of a tablespoon per gallon. Now, a lot of people say you should use washing soda, and that may well be the case. But where I live, I was unable to find washing soda, and baking soda will work. It just takes a little longer, and you might have to mix it a little stronger. So let's dump this into our bucket. Looks like I'm going to need a couple more buckets full because I got to completely submerge this. Well, there we are. The part's completely submerged in the water. I've got my electrodes hooked up. Why don't we plug in this charger and see what happens? One thing you got to do, and make sure you don't get it wrong because you'll end up wasting a lot of time. You hook the black or negative terminal to your part, and you hook your positive terminal to your sacrificial metal, and then you plug it in. If you don't do it right, you'll spend a lot of time cooking a part and just taking the rust off your sacrificial metal and putting it on the part you're trying to clean. So you don't want to drive in reverse. You don't get there very fast. There we go. We got a little bit of bubbles coming up out of there. See that? That's the rust starting to come off of the part. You see the bubbles coming up off of that bar. That's the rust going to that bar. So after about 24 hours, that part should more closely resemble this part. One thing to keep in mind though is off of one of these parts, the bubbles coming up is hydrogen, which is highly flammable. And the bubbles coming up off the other part are oxygen, which is an oxidizer. Because we're breaking down the water. Electrolysis is breaking water down into its two main parts, oxygen and hydrogen. Thus the reason it's called dihydrogen monoxide, or H2O. That being the case, we really don't want it around any open flames, and we want it to have some ventilation. And the fact that it's inside my garage with that heater, it's probably not a good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and shut that off, and I'm going to turn the lights out and go away and shut the door. And the reason I'm not worried about shutting the door is because this garage was built in 1920. It's leaning, it's listing, it's got leaks. This old leaning garage has more leaks than any computer Julian Assange has ever owned. WikiLeaks would be proud. Now my old battery charger here, everything's automatic on it, so the amps are going to vary. I'm running about 4 amps, so it's going to take quite a while. If I were demanding 10 amps, which I can't in this case, you can see that slowly going down. I could force it to go faster, but I can't. But you can see it really bubbling now. Look at the bubbling on that thing. Holy cow. This is gonna froth up good. Can't wait to see this happen and see the results. We'll check it tomorrow. All right, it's been about 15, 18 hours, something like that. It's the next morning. I think it's time to take a sip of coffee. And go see what sort of atrocities have occurred overnight in my shop. Well, there it is. Still cooking away. I think we need to pull it out and take a look at it. All right. Let's unplug it. It should stop cooking almost immediately. Unhook our wires. There's the rust right there. Moved on to that one and on to this one. So let's see what the part looks like. Let's brush it off a little bit. Look at that. Absolutely bare cast iron. Well, I think I need to go clean this up and see what it looks like. Let's go out to the hose and see what we can do. Okay, after a fair amount of cleaning, I'm pretty happy with the results. I probably could have left it in a few more hours, maybe another day or two, and got it absolutely perfect. But I think this is going to work for an exhaust manifold. You know, and I'm ready to heat these up with the heat gun to get them completely dry and paint them. Well, I have several things going on here. I have the heat turned on. These are both a little wet. I'm trying to warm them up because it's been cold out here in the shop all night. And so I've got my heat gun here because I don't want any dampness on here, and I don't want the paint running all over the place. So let's get after this, heat them up nice and warm, and then paint them. I'm going to be using VHT flame-proof paint. It's supposed to be get up over 1,000 degrees, so, or actually 1,093 centigrade, 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot. Way hotter than this is going to get. So let's get heating these up and drying them out. Well, I think that's going to work. Let's let that dry, and then we'll hang these up and have them wait for the rest of the engine to be ready. I call that a success.